in response to high school students being recommended to take 4 years of math by the California State University faculty. After reading the article by Pat Maio, a couple things stood out to me to be really significant. Even though the representatives of the 23 campuses resolved and actually recommended that high school students should take 4 years of high school math rather than the current 3 before entering the California State University school system. The number one thing that stood out to me is the fact that this recommendation assumes that the number of years a student takes math is somehow equated to the success that they have in the math class, and whether or not they're actually picking up the skill sets and ultimately end up owning those when they've completed the course. From my experience, the major problem that students have is the fact that when the course is over, they seldomly retain any of the information or skill sets that they have supposedly studied over the course of the semester or the year. I think that it's more important that all students have competency, especially in foundation math, because of the fact that advanced mathematics that would be equivalent to college level courses require that you own prerequisites or foundation skills. And all advanced branches of mathematics, be it algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, geometry, trigonometry, or calculus, require that you own those foundation skills. And my experience teaches me is that too many students actually graduate from high school but don't own the foundation skills. They're not competent, and half of them that actually pass and are able to graduate a completed course, the course requirements, still don't have the skills. And whether or not they're doing it just because they're able to use multiple choice answers and somehow a percentage of them is successful, or the fact that they're able to retain the skills for a limited amount of time, still puts them in a position where upon completion of high school, they can't apply any of what they're supposed to have learned. And that by the time they get to either a plan for college or just to adult life, they don't have use of the skills they spent all these years supposedly acquiring. So my recommendation is more that we look at the teaching methodologies, we look at whether or not the students upon completion actually own the skills that they've supposedly covered. And I think that quality of learning and whether or not the students actually acquire the skills is more important than the number of years that a student takes. Because in order to be successful in college level math, needless to say, you have to be successful you should be in high school level mathematics. And a lot of times students don't really become serious about mathematics until they've actually graduated from high school. I think that math instruction at the high school level and even middle school should be something that students enjoy. It should be more fun. They should have extended opportunities beyond the classroom to gain ownership of the skills that they're covering. And so I think that the primary thing that really needs to be addressed is getting kids really engaged in learning, excited about learning, and also changing their mindset about mathematics, its utility, as well as how difficult or how easy it is for learners to learn, acquire, and master the skills. Just more years of the same thing, I don't see the utility. And I think that what it would do is it would close the door on lots of students who otherwise would be able to go to college, and perhaps even if they didn't study math or science, they could be successful in some line of course study. But requiring them to have 4 years of high school mathematics is going to limit the number of students who actually will consider going to college and who are qualified to go. And it will also create a situation wherein a lot of students who are already struggling will find themselves not able to pass the high school requirements, and you're going to see even more students dropping out of school, even more students who can't pass the high school exit exam. And to me, I think that's absurd, considering how much money we spend on students. So my recommendation is to slow down before you require additional years. Make sure that you have quality instruction in the classroom, and that after the students have taken the courses, that they actually own the skills that they're supposed to have studied and covered. Not just more years, but more quality in terms of instruction, in terms of transferring the skill sets and the knowledge to the students. So whether the chancellors and the academic committees and even the California Mathematics Council representatives, they all have a perspective, but they're not students, and they are far removed from the classroom and the day-to-day experience of students who are already struggling. So the Chancellor, Mr. Tim White, his Board of Trustees, they need to slow down and reconsider their proposal to require 4 years of high school mathematics, in my opinion.